Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to African Metaphysical Center for Spiritual Healing, Body, Mind, and Spirit Development. I am your host, Kufu Amin, your metaphysical practitioner, Reiki master, Qigong instructor, bond practitioner, and mystic. Today's topic is how spiritually awakened ones navigate the racism of soulless ones, part 2 of 2. Now, this is probably the longest video I've made thus far, but it's one of the most important, so I hope you stay for the whole thing. You asked the question that changes everything. How do we navigate around these soulless ones? The ancient mystics didn't just identify the problem, they gave us the manual for survival and sovereignty in a world where empty vessels walk among us. First, recognize them without fear. The spiritually awakened have a gift the soulless don't: discernment. You can feel the difference between someone who's asleep and someone who's empty. Asleep people have warmth beneath the conditioning. There's a flicker, a possibility, a soul waiting to remember. You feel it in their eyes, even when their words are programmed. Empty ones, there's nothing behind the eyes. Conversations feel circular, repetitive, scripted. They mimic emotions but don't feel them. They perform humanity but don't embody it. Trust that unsettling feeling in your gut. That's your soul recognizing the absence of another. Second, don't try to save them. This is where awakened empaths get trapped. You see someone spewing racism, hatred, division, and your soul wants to heal them, teach them, show them the light. But you can't fill a cup that has no bottom. The soulless aren't on a journey of awakening because they're not here for that curriculum. They're NPCs in the game, obstacles in the quest, tests for your discernment. Pouring your energy into them is like watering a plastic plant, waste of sacred resources. Ancient Buddhist wisdom teaches you can't wake someone who's pretending to sleep. But what about someone who was never truly alive? Save your light for those who can actually absorb it. Third, master energetic boundaries. The soulless are parasitic by design. They feed on reaction, emotion, attention, and especially your spiritual light. When you engage with their racism, their hatred, their provocations, you're feeding into them. Ancient practices teach us the gray rock method, which is become energetically uninteresting. No emotional reaction, no feeding their vampiric nature. Bland, neutral, boring. They'll move on to a much easier target. Then you got the mirror shield. Visualize their energy bouncing back to them. What they send out, they receive. You're not absorbing it, you're reflecting it. Ancient Kemetic magic used this, the mirror as a spiritual protection. The frequency shift. Raise your vibration so high they can't reach you. They operate at low frequencies, fear, anger, separation. You rise to love, peace, unity. Different dimensions, they literally can't access you there. Fourth, move in strategic silence. The awakened don't announce their moves to the soulless. You don't explain your boundaries. You don't justify your distance. You don't educate them on why their racism is wrong. You just move differently. Ancient warriors knew, never reveal your strategy to your opponent. The soulless will use your words, your vulnerabilities, your truths against you. They're data collectors, not soul connectors. Protect your energy by protecting your information. They don't need to know your plans, your growth, your awakening. Move in silence and let your elevation speak. Fifth, find and fortify your soul tribe. You can't do this alone. The spiritually awakened need community, real community, not surface level connections, but soul family who see you, recognize you, protect you. These people exist across all races, cultures, and backgrounds. They're the ones whose eyes light up when you speak truth, who feel like home even when you just met, who challenge you to grow, not shrink. Ancient tribes knew, gather with those who feed your fire, not those who dim your light. Your soul family becomes your fortress in a world of soulless chaos. Sixth, practice spiritual warfare, not physical. When you encounter racism from the soulless, you're not fighting a person, you're fighting a frequency, an entity, a program running through them. Ancient mystics engage in spiritual warfare, prayer and intention, not for them to change, they can't, but for protection from their influence and for their power over you to be nullified. Energetic cutting, cord cutting rituals to sever any energetic attachments they form to you through conflict or trauma. Ancestral calling. Call on your spiritual awakened ancestors to guide and guard you. You have lineage protection they can't penetrate. Light work. The highest form of resistance is becoming so bright they can't stand to be near you. Darkness doesn't fight light, it retreats from it. Seventh, transmute the experience into power. Every encounter with the soulless is data. What triggers you? Where are you still giving your power away? What old wounds are still open? The awakened use racism and hatred as mirrors, not to internalize the hate, but to identify where you still need healing, strengthening, fortifying. Ancient alchemy taught, turn poison into medicine. Their racism becomes your fuel for deeper self-love. Their rejection becomes your catalyst for finding true soul family. Their hatred becomes proof that you're shining too bright for comfort. Eighth, stay vigilant, but not paranoid. Yes, the soulless exist. Yes, they're more common than we want to believe. But not everyone who disappoints you is soulless. Not everyone who's racist is empty. Discernment means knowing the difference. Some people are wounded and acting from trauma. They can heal. Some people are programmed and asleep. They can wake up. Some people are empty vessels running scripts. They can't change. Don't become so guarded you miss genuine soul connections. Don't become so cynical you can't recognize when someone's actually trying to grow. The soulless makes you sharper, not harder, wiser, not colder. Ninth, remember your mission. You didn't incarnate in this era by accident. You're here during the Great Awakening, the Great Separation, the Great Revealing. The soulless are becoming more obvious because the frequency of Earth is rising. They can't hide anymore their mask. This is part 2, how spiritually awakened ones navigate around the soulless. So, you saw the first post. You understood or understand how that not everyone carries a soul. You recognize the soulless ones, the racists, the energy vampires, the empty vessels running on programming. Now, the question is, how do you navigate around them without losing yourself? Ancient mystics left us a blueprint. Here's how the awakened move through a world of soulless. 1. Discernment is your first weapon. The Buddha taught right association. The Essenes practice spiritual discernment. Indigenous elders speak of reading energy before reading words. You must learn to feel who's in front of you, not what they say, not what they look like, but what they are energetically. Soul beings have a warmth, even when they're struggling. There's a light behind the eyes, a presence, a depth. You feel something when you interact with them. The soulless, there's a coldness, a flatness, like talking to a very advanced AI. The words might be right, but the essence is missing. Your gut tells you something's off. Trust that. Your soul recognizes the absence of soul, that uncomfortable feeling around certain people. That's not anxiety. That's your spiritual immune system warning you. Number 2, energetic boundaries are non-negotiable. The Kabbalist teaches about the Or Makif, the surrounding light that protects your essence. Every ancient tradition has a version: aura protection, energy shields, spiritual armor. You must shield yourself around the soulless. They're energetic black holes. They don't generate their own light, so they feed on yours. Daily practice. Visualize a sphere of light around your entire being. Nothing enters without your permission. Their racism, their hatred, their emptiness, it hits your shield and dissolves. It never touches your essence. The soulless can only affect you if you're energetically absorbent. Seal yourself. Protect yourself. This isn't optional. Number 3, never argue with programs. Here's what awakened ones understand. You can't logic someone into having a soul. You can't debate someone into empathy. You can't prove your humanity to someone's incapable of recognizing it. The Stoics taught, don't waste time on the unwilling. Yeshua said, don't cast pearls before swine. Not because of arrogance, because of energy conservation. When you encounter a soulless racist, you're not talking to a consciousness. You're talking to a program, a script, an algorithm running in meat form. Do you argue with your computer when it crashes? Do you try to convince a robot to feel love? No. You recognize it for what it is and move accordingly. Save your energy. Save your words. Save your light. They're precious. Don't waste time on empty vessels. Number 4, gray rock when you can't escape. Sometimes you can't avoid them. They're co-workers, family members, people in position of power over you. The awakened ones know strategic invisibility is survival. Become energetically uninteresting. Give them nothing to feed on. No emotional reaction. No defense. No engagement. Become like a gray rock. Present, but uninteresting. Answer in monotone. Keep responses minimal. Show no passion, no pain, no light for them to drain. they'll eventually move on to a much easier target. This isn't weakness. This is tactical spirituality. The ninja doesn't fight every battle. Sometimes the greatest power is in being unseen. Number 5, transmute their energy into absorbing it. Advanced spiritual practice. When the soulless direct racism or hatred at you, don't take it in. Don't deflect it into others. Transmute it. Ancient alchemists knew everything is energy, and energy can be transformed. Visualize their hatred hitting your energetic field and transforming into light, into fuel for your own ascension, into fertilizer for your spiritual growth. They think they're attacking you. Really, they're feeding you. Every racist comment becomes proof of your strength. Every act of discrimination becomes evidence of your resilience. You're literally turning their poison into medicine. This is master level spirituality. Number 6, find your soul tribe and fortify. You cannot walk this path alone. The soulless operate in groups, systems, institutions, mobs. You need your soul family. Ancient wisdom. When 2 or more are gathered in consciousness, the power multiplies exponentially. Find other awakened beings, not based on race, religion, or background, based on resonance. Soul recognizes soul. Create sacred spaces where you can lower your shields, share your light, remember who you are. These connections are your lifeline in a world of the soulless. Your soul tribe reminds you of truth when the soulless try to convince you of lies. They reflect your divinity when racists try to diminish it. Number 7, elevation is the ultimate protection. Here's the secret the ancient masters knew. The soulless can only access certain frequencies. Racism, hatred, fear, these are low vibration states. When you raise your frequency high enough, you become literally unreachable to them. No, not invisible, unreachable. You're operating on a wavelength they cannot access. How do you elevate? Okay. Daily meditation connecting to source. Gratitude practices that expand your heart. Creative expressions that channels divine flow. Acts of service that remind you of unity. Time in nature that recalibrates your frequency. Sacred study that feeds your soul. The higher you rise, the less their racism touches you. Not because it doesn't happen, because you're vibrating at a level where it cannot penetrate. Number 8, recognize your mission. Awakened ones aren't here by accident. You incarnated in this time, in this body, with this experience for a reason. The soulless are part of the test. Can you remember who you are when you're surrounded by those who've forgotten? Can you hold your light in the darkness? Can you love yourself fiercely when others project hate? Every encounter with a racist, soulless being is an initiation. Pass the test. Don't internalize their poison. Don't dim your light. Don't forget your divinity. You're here to anchor a new frequency on this planet, to model what awakened consciousness looks like, to show other souled beings that there's another way. Number 9, know when to walk away. Ancient warriors knew some battles aren't meant to be fought. Some environments are too toxic for even the strongest souls. If you're in a situation where the soulless are actively harming you physically, mentally, spiritually, and you have the means to leave, leave. There's no spiritual prize for martyrdom, no award for enduring abuse. Your soul chooses this incarnation to thrive, not just survive. The strategic retreat is wisdom, not weakness. Preserve yourself, protect your essence, live to shine another day. Number 10, remember, you are eternal. They are temporary. Final truth from the ancient mystery schools. This is one life, one brief experience in an eternal existence. The soulless, if they're truly with a soul, this is their only experience. This is all they get. When this simulation ends, they dissolve. No continuation, no evolution, just done. But you're eternal. You've lived countless lives. You live countless more. This experience with racism and soulless beings is a chapter, not the whole story. Hold the long view. You're an infinite being having a temporary human experience. Their hatred is a moment. Your essence is forever. Here is the Awakened One's creed. I do not argue with programs. I do not absorb poison. I do not dim my light for the comfort of the dark. I protect my energy like the sacred resources it is. I recognize soul from soulless. I choose my battles wisely. I elevate beyond their reach. I remember my mission. I find my tribe. I stay in my power. The soulless will do what they do. That's their programming. But you're awake now. You know how to navigate. You know how to protect yourself. You know how to rise. They can't touch what they can't reach. And where you're going, they cannot follow. Stay elevated. Stay protected. Stay awakened. Until next time, ashe, 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 and thank you for being here.